Welcome to the Investor Agent Podcast. I'm Steve Seymour, your host, where we help transform the human mindset from scarcity and lack to abundance and wealth, one conversation at a time. Steve Seymour here with the Investor Agent Podcast. We have Brian Offner as our guest today. Thanks for being on, Brian.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited because just when I first met you, I was like blown away. I was like, this guy, I feel like I'm talking to myself. I'm like, this is serial entrepreneur, big passion for real estate, big passion for helping people, passionate about health and wellness, just overall really like a lot of alignment in so many areas. I was like, I want to work with this guy. I was like, how can we work together?
And yeah, I don't even think it was that cool. Difficult of a thing to bring together. It was more of like, when are we working together?
Yeah,
it's pretty smooth.
And before I start asking you questions, I kind of just want to touch on, the whole intention of this podcast is to transform the human mindset from scarcity and lack to abundance and wealth. And us being in literally competing industries in multiple areas, yeah. Right? And we're like, let's put that aside and let's join a tribe together and join forces, regardless of the fact that, specifically like you have ownership in mortgage, title, so do I.
Right.
And we were both able to put that aside and say, how can we work together? And that's the abundance mindset that I love in this industry when you do see it, because it's not common. I really did want to touch on that a little bit. Just,
there's
how did we just put that aside and we're like, let's focus on the bigger picture?
There's two parts of it, right? There's the competitiveness, fine. We're in competing industries and that's fine. But the fact that our mantra is to put people in a better place because they met us removes that. I tell people in competing markets all the time, you talk about like your success bucket, right? Here's my success bucket, that's yours. If I'm filling mine up, it's not coming from yours, right? And there's a good meme that's out there about that. So when you think about that putting out the energy of just lifting yours up, lifting other people's up, everyone wins. And there's plenty out there we were just talking about it before we went live. Like there's plenty of opportunity out there. So the goal was just to have everyone around you maximizing their potential and being a part of that driving force, and everybody wins. And I think that's why we were able to move to that conclusion really quick, that we had the same vested interest in where we were going and just trusting we would get there, faster together.
Yeah, because I know watching and seeing patterns with so many different people in this industry, you see that scarcity and lack mindset all over the place. And then when you see the people who are really abundant and successful, they're the ones who actually do want to make a difference and help other people. And, it's just so important to take a bigger picture and look at that, because, when you go and help someone who you might even think is your competitor, it always plants good karma and it always comes back somehow. Right. And I've never viewed you like even coming in, like obviously like there's some level of competition with certain things, but we're in different markets. But more than anything, the biggest thing was, how do we complement each other? Right. And we focused on that. Yep. So our mindset was to focus on the positive versus the negative.
Right. And I think the other thing too is there's a lack of contentment that you and I probably have in our life, that we're like, you're not this office, right? You're not done. It's not like there's expansion mentality. And I think that's where people who are in scarcity mentality, they're looking at today and now, but people that have the abundance mentality are going, how big is Vanguard going to expand to? And that's where my head was. I want to be a part and help you with the expansion, not just be like another little, team on the side like that. My head, I'm not even interested in that personally, of just having a small little team and like it's a bigger thing. So when two people can see the vision down the road, agree on it, and then back into the behaviors that have to happen to get that goal, that just puts the like scarcity day-to-day stuff. You're not even thinking about that. You're just building towards what you need to do large scale to get to that vision. And I give you credit for that. You hold that vision so solid in your head. You're so clear on it. And that is the difference between making a decision that you're going to do something or having an idea that you want to do something. The huge difference in those two mindsets that set apart people that overcome adversity and people that give up.
Yeah. And I felt that pure genuineness. That's why I just wanted to highlight this right off the bat, because it's like, who is Brian Offner? Who's Steve Seymour? How did they come together? Why are they talking? What are they talking about? And to me, it was like, I felt that genuineness of coming from a place of wanting to help, right? Like others first, people first. And then how can we do something big? And let's go after something that's, worth our time. Yeah. So it was pretty cool to have that come. And I don't want to beat a dead horse with this, but I just wanted to highlight it because I'm genuinely honored to have you as part of the brokerage. And I just think you're such a great dude. You bring so much to the table in terms of just high level thinking, strategy, people first, leadership, just so many great qualities.
And that's what attracted me to the brokerage, is that is your mentality. There's so many brokers that go from the real estate business to the realtor business, right? But the way they treat their realtors like a rental property, and we're going to make money off of this. Let's do the minimum just to keep that thing going, where you're like, I'm going to turn my realtors into machines, investment machines, be invested in their wealth and their future. And I think that is one, that's what attracted me to you guys right away from an energy standpoint, because I'm like, no one else is doing this. So this is where I need to be. And then the fact that you take such a vested interest in putting your agents in a better place. I was even thinking about this on the drive here, talking to my brother-in-law, and we're kicking around, where's our next move? Where do we want to be? And meaning in business, do we want to start looking at, buy and holds? Do we want to build? Do we want to, and so our brains right now, we're just shifted to land acquisition, where I have them looking at land. I'm like, we're going to buy and develop land. That's our next move. Buy, build a duplex, rent them out, refi them, prove it one time, do it. We made the decision in the car here that that's what we're doing. And in real estate, you're not going to take too many, L's can look differently. You're not going to take too many L's where you just get crushed financially if you're plan accordingly and buy land and develop it. Unless you are really don't know your numbers, that's not going to be a losing proposition. Now, whether you decide to do that again and again and again is to be determined until you have that blueprint and that formula. But here's the difference. Someone like you and I, as soon as we have that formula, we'll share it with other people. Here's what we're doing. We'll talk about it. And that's a difference. If you're getting into, let's explain this to Mike, as you're getting into real estate and you start getting some under your belt, most people go, I just need the money. I need the money. And they focus on the money, what they don't have. But once you have the experience, you figure out the ways to get money. It's actually not hard once you know how to align with it and get it. You need experience, because in the beginning you'll have partners, and then when you get to a certain level, then you'll have investors. And I think that, to me, that's the ultimate goal. We have now I'm just figuring out what lane do we want to go into. And I know you've talked about it too. That's where the next tier is just getting to a level where you have investors and you can just do what you enjoy doing and proving out over and over to scale. And that's the vision, where I don't think that most realtors on the day-to-day are thinking about that. And that's one thing I want to bring up here too, just to challenge people, maybe in the comments below or somewhere, what's your exit strategy from real estate? What is your game plan?
Oh, that's big.
What is it?
No one's thinking about that. Anytime you start a business, that should be one of the first things you think about. What is that? What's the end goal?
Right. And then, what is the end goal? And then I do this with me and my wife do it all the time, where we're like, what's our exit strategy? What's our number? How do we got to get to that number? And if you can just obsess about those three things, what's our exit strategy? What's my number? Meaning, how much money do I need a month to live? And then how am I going to get the passive income stream to create that number as quick as possible? And you can, I can give you right now 13 to 15,000 a month. There's 5 Airbnbs, anywhere from 60 to 120,000 per Airbnb will spit you off enough money in the right markets in the current environment to spit off 13 to 15,000 a month passively. So what do I need to acquire 5 properties? Yep. Well, back into those numbers and then figure out how to get the money to do one. Then do another one, and then boom. That's just, most people aren't executing on that. But
most people aren't even thinking like that.
Right.
They're thinking about, how can I get a pay raise? For an agent, they're thinking, how can I get my next deal?
Right.
That's what all sales training has been around, where's your next deal coming from? Where's your pipeline, your leads? And the problem with that is everything still revolves around you in the future. So there is no exit unless you genuinely build a true business with systems and processes, like a team that's running like a full-blown machine.
But even
can
if
it
you
be
do
done?
that,
Yes. But it's probably going to be the top 1% of agents.
Right. But even if they do that, that is still a business model.
Oh yeah.
It's not a real estate model, right? Yeah. It's not investing. So there's three things: the market, real estate, and businesses. There's the only three things you should focus your time on to create wealth for yourself, right? So it's like,
this is why I was talking, as soon as I was talking to him, I was like, we're talking to myself. This is great. Even though I drive myself crazy. Yeah. It's like a different version and a little smarter, a little better looking, but I was like, I love this conversation. So
yeah. And that's where, look, and if you turn the mirror on yourself, which we do, and hold ourselves accountable to our potential, it's like, driving here today, Mike's telling me about this guy who's driving a Ferrari and he does this and that, and he's smart, but he's working 12-hour days. I'm like, that's the piece that people don't recognize. It's like, yeah, you don't want that. I want the passive income streams to acquire a lifestyle that's sustainable and predictable with the revenue streams that I set up. And when you're in like the work world, the W-2 world, it usually looks like, what does my 401k look like? Like, let's say you had 5 million in the 401k that spit off 3%, you're at 150,000, boom. That's how you hit your 12 to 15,000 a month, right? You need to save $5 million. You know how hard that is to do that in the W-2 world? Yeah. It's really hard. So, but I could get there in 5 years to that same number in real estate, easy. Not using 500,000.
Realistically, easy. Most people could do that, Well,
and the thing about it is too,
I don't want to say easy, simple, but hard work, right? Like you got to put the work in.
You put the work in, and you just have to do it one time. And like that to me, I've been to investor groups, I've been everywhere, and there's the 5% of the people in the crowd that do it at a high level. Then there's like 15% that are dabbling. And then the other 80% that are like, I want to do it, but I'm just analyzing. And then I might analyze. And then I'm just like, pull the trigger. Just no better way than to just do it, figure it out. And, but again, not everybody is like that, but you should be if that's your exit strategy.
Yeah. So I want to touch on something, it might be a little off topic from that, but I can kind of tie it in with the sense that, to take action, you have to be decisive, right? And to be decisive, you have to know who you are and what you want. And to know who you are and what you want, you have to know who you are not and what you don't want.
Correct.
Right. And, Brian, I feel like you have a lot of wisdom for someone your age. You wrote a book. And I know one of the chapters, one of the topics in that book is light versus heavy.
Yep.
And I wanted you to touch on that because I think that's a really good guiding factor to help you decide what you want and what you don't want.
Yeah. I mean, this is
some high level stuff. So people tune in. This could be big for you, if you're really struggling.
Yeah. And the reason I wrote this book was, it's odd you bring up that specific chapter of all of them, the light versus heavy. I do a lot of speaking in front of realtors and I bring up the light and the heavy, and I've gotten so much feedback from such a simple concept, but when you put it in the terms that I'm going to put it in, it just is like, oh, that makes sense. Why I wrote the book was my wife yelled downstairs to me, "Hey, Brian, who wrote that book on light versus heavy? I want to tell my friend about it." And I jokingly yelled up, "I haven't written it yet." And she's like, "That's yours?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, like write it." And then a year later, we have the book created. But the light versus heavy mentality is it's a feeling, right? So if you ask me to do something, I have a physiological response to that request or a thought. It's either light where I'm like, cool, yeah, let's do it. Or if it's heavy, I'm kind of like, I'm probably not going to give it 110%, and it's probably not going to work because it's not something that there's any kind of passion or drive behind it. So in my organizations, with all my teams, with everybody, I'll ask somebody, if I ask someone to do a task and they go, "Brian, that's heavy to me," I'll go, "Cool." And we move right on to the next person. As you're thinking of people asking you to do stuff, this is where this is kind of in the rat race in the W-2 world, this is where people are miserable. If you can really break it down, they're doing things that are heavy to them every single day because they have to. Otherwise, they would be having fun. Like if everything you were doing, if you were an accountant and you loved accounting, you'd be making videos about accounting and you'd be loving it because it's light and fun and exciting. Accountant is not that, but it would be for somebody who enjoyed it, right? So making sure and analyzing in your life what relationships you have around you that are heavy, get rid of them. What tasks do you have to do that are heavy? Find someone that task is light to them, and I'll give you an example, and have them do it, right? I started doing real estate in 2019. I probably have never done a whole transaction without a transaction coordinator myself. I know that's like people, you should do one, you should know what you're doing. I don't need to know what I'm doing. I know what needs to get done, but my transaction coordinator does that all because it's light to her. It'd be super heavy to me. It wouldn't get done properly. It'd be a lot of stress for people involved. So I eliminate that and I do the light stuff on the front end. My transaction coordinator does what comes light to her. Title company does what comes light to them. Mortgage does what comes light to them. And you have a beautiful transaction where the client feels good because everyone's on top of their stuff. So ask yourself, and there's in the chapter, at the end of the chapter, there's actually an exercise you can do where you're looking at all different areas of your life. What comes light? If you got to choose what people always say, well, if you do what you're passionate about, what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right? That just means I'm doing stuff that's light to me. That's good. Now, doing something that's light and being able to earn a living doing it is a whole nother skill set. But in real estate, if you can find the paths that are light to you, go all in there and then get rid of the heavy stuff. Normally you want to start with people, to be honest with you, that are heavy, that are bringing you down. Like if you were like, oh no, like I'll throw my father-in-law under the bus. Maybe he'll listen to this, but every time I talk about a deal, taxes, what about the tax? And I'm like, the fuck? Taxes, like, cool. Like,
if you made enough money to pay taxes, I'm like, be grateful that
you made $100,000. Well, you got to pay taxes on that. Yeah, I just cut it. Like, what? So, like, just so people that are like have their self doubt and all their, I call it head trash.
It's the crabs in the bucket.
Exactly.
It's like, so if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, Brian, that sounds great, but the crabs in the bucket mentality is kicking in, and you're like, but it's unrealistic to do what you always love doing. What would your tip be to say, okay, well, how do you take the baby steps? How do you make progression versus perfection?
What skill set do you have that I would pay you for?
Yeah.
What skill do you enjoy doing that I would give you money for? Then go sell it one time. Go do it. You like painting? Go sell a painting job. You like working on cars? Put something on Facebook, say I can help you fix your car. Like whatever you are good at that you enjoy doing, go sell it one time to somebody. And guess what? Now you're one skill away from running a business, marketing that joy. And that's it. I mean, go through COVID, like, so everyone was down, like home and people were working from home and stuff. I put a Facebook post up saying, hey, what are you good at? Like, what skills do you have that I would pay you for? Just kind of getting people to think about it. And my one buddy loves making tables, like custom tables. And I said, cool, can you make one for my daughter, Alina's art stand? If you go on my Facebook, you'll see the picture of it. He made this awesome custom. And I'm like, you could do this for a living. Dude sold like 12 desks since then to other people and has a little side hustle now selling desks. And he's like, I love making them. And it's like, yeah, well, you're good at it. That's what it's passion. So that's what you say. You can kind of, when your side hustle becomes your main gig is when you learn how to market your side hustle properly. And so that's what I would challenge people. Just what do you enjoy doing? And what would somebody exchange money for your skill set? Now, real estate's a little different as far as like, I leverage real estate to acquire the capital to go push into residual driven investments. Like cash is trash. My wife hates when I say that, but I hate having cash in the accounts. I hate having money because if it's like, do you have the cash in your pocket from last week? No one does.
It's called liquid because it just runs downhill.
It's just gone. So I hate having money on me. So if you can kind of just get that, and then the cash hoarders are the next worst thing than the cash spenders. Like that's just, so just come up, if my wife's like this, come up with a number that she's comfortable with, or he or she's comfortable with, put it in the reserve account, and then say, let me go ham with the rest. And then that's where you then start developing the business lines of credit, the working capital, the cash to start going and identifying your first project. And if you're interested in those things, we'll get into that another time, but you can reach out and finding access.
Just share a quick example because people are listening. You don't have to go too deep on it, but like how to leverage a business line of credit to get into a property, marrying that with either fix and flip financing or private money or a mortgage. There's a lot of different strategies, but I want to get people's minds going because if you haven't even heard of this could be your ticket to getting started where you don't think it's possible for you to get a property right now. If you listen to this, you are wrong.
All right. So I'll give you a real scenario. Let's say you have identified a home that's worth $150,000 that you can buy distressed property, right? So you go under contract in that, I should do this, so I'll tell you, go under contract on that home in an LLC that doesn't even exist yet. So I didn't even create the LLC yet, but I locked it up, went under contract. Then I went to LegalZoom, created the LLC, expedited it, had all the paperwork, gave it to them. So on this particular LLC, we needed funding. So I went to my funding manager to get lines of credit in the business that I literally just started. So as long as you have above a 680 credit score, you can go out and get business lines of credit. For this particular property, I think we need about $48,000 cash. I was able to secure $75,000 in lines of credit. So you got lines of credit and you got to buy the house. So I needed the lines of credit in order to liquidate them into the bank account to come up with the $40,000 down. Plus I had some money for the renovations. Renovations weren't a ton on this property. So we were able to go under contract, close, use the lines of credit for the down money to purchase it in the LLC we literally just created. And then we went out, did the renovation work. Otis, if you're listening, he'll never paint a house again ever to try to save the $5,000 I told him it would cost to just have a painter do it.
Sounded kind of heavy.
No, for him it is. For me, I told him. I was like, dude, we don't want to paint ourselves. Just pay the $5,000. He's like, just $5,000. I could do it. Blah, blah. So he ended up painting. He's like, I'm never painting again. I was like, yeah, I told you. So hire painters if you don't. You should.
Unless you love painting.
Unless you love painting.
Put on some headphones and go at it.
Paint for days. So so that property we ended up going, selling, I don't know, we sold it for $256, I think. We budgeting $240. We thought we'd sell for $240. Went for $256. We gave a little bit of seller's assist, but then when we liquidated that, we paid the lines off and zeroed them out. And now that cash is in the bank account looking for the next deal. So now I went from no cash in the account in a business that it didn't even exist when I went under contract to leveraging. Again, good credit is basically the X factor there. Open up the business, have decent credit, personally guarantee the lines. The lines never show up on your personal credit. They're business lines of credit. They do not show up. So even if I maxed them out, it's not like I'm going to be over leveraged and not like be able to get a mortgage. It's not even showing up on your personal credit. The inquiries do, but your score is still intact. So that is a quick way where you could literally go buy a property, leverage lines of credit with your good credit, do the flip, sell it, pay off the lines, have cash in a business within months, and that's, so don't, then when I say money's easy to get that's what I mean. And that's, anyone can do that. That's not, if you don't even have the good credit score, you can partner with someone that does, and they can get the lines, and you leverage their lines and give them a little off of the deal. It's doable.
Yeah. So the difference was you made the decision to buy a property, and then you figured out how to make it happen.
Yep. Versus
everyone's trying to figure out how to make it happen, and they can't figure it out because they didn't make the decision. And that's where when we go back to, look, I can do this, and having that faith in it and then working it out. And there's a million different ways to cut up slices. There's 10 different ways to skin a cat or whatever they say. So if that sounded like Greek to you, then that's fine. That's okay. But if what you heard resonated with you, like, I know I could do that, I don't fully understand it yet, that's when you make the decision, right? And that forces your mind to say, what is a business line of credit? How do I start an LLC? How do I acquire a distressed property, right? Because those were the components. And then how do I flip a property? You don't have to have it all figured out. You have to have faith that you'll work through it. And this is where going into that scarcity, like, oh, what if I fail? What if I lose it all? Like you said, these big L's are not so big.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not going to crush you.
No.
You have to take risks, and you don't take stupid risks, but get around people that can help coach you. Like, reach out to Brian. He can help you get access to these lines of credit.
Yeah. And
reach out to a realtor that understands how to evaluate a distressed deal. Brian's got a team of people that can help you out, right?
Yeah.
And covers a large area. So like surround yourself with the right people, make it light, get some confidence behind you if you don't have the confidence yourself.
Yeah. And most realtors, like if you're a realtor and you're finding deals for your investors, like
you're already doing it.
You're already doing it. That's where my head goes.
All the hard work.
You're doing all the hard work for 2.5%. It's like, why not share in the upside? Like that's where my brain goes. It's like, well, they're doing it. What are they doing? Oh, they're bringing cash to the deal. How do I get the cash? And you just figure out how to bring that all together. And here's a beautiful thing, like with these LLC strategies, like I've got 4 right now that we have, and you can do it anytime. Like so I do them to eliminate touch and cash reserves, like save that for, another deal. Like, and it's where you go and you go, all right, I got one deal going. I got another deal going. Here's another opportunity. I don't want to miss this opportunity. You can pull, once you're confident and you do one, you'll leverage again and go, all right, I'm going to create another LLC, grab some cash and do it with that one, with this partner or by myself. So again, it just all comes down to just do it one time, and then you'll be in anything, in any of your jobs. If you've ever did something the first time, then you stack confidence, then you're like, all right, let's go. Well, you just got to do it one time and you'll start building on that confidence. So,
and what I like to call this, I like to define this, on a high level, financial arbitrage.
Yeah.
So when you put your money in a bank, they're taking that money, paying you basically nothing, on a checking or savings account even. I mean, now there's some high yield savings accounts that aren't bad, but still they're re-lending that money back to you or someone else at a higher interest rate. And that's financial arbitrage.
Yep. That's
what's happening. It's legal. It's the system that you're born into. And for you to get ahead in that system, in that game, you have to learn the game that's being played.
100%.
And what he's just said is exactly a perfect example where he went and did the opposite to the bank, right. Where it was like, you're going to do this to me. I'm going to borrow money from you, invest it in an asset that's going to produce a higher return, and then I'll pay you back from that asset.
100%. Like
that's fine. Like, so once you get the mindset, like I want to understand financial arbitrage at a high level. And then now it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. The amount of deals you're going to do it's limitless.
Right.
It's basically up to your capacity. But once you understand that game, there's so many different ways to slice that up.
Yeah.
Where you're borrowing money, investing it, paying it back.
Yep.
Right. And yeah, obviously that's how people also get in trouble because they don't know what they're doing. But at the same time, you take baby steps. And like you said, you do it once, you build the muscle, develop it over time. And, you got to reach out to people like Brian because they're the type of people that are going to help you understand this concept. Once you get it down, your mind's going to spin in terms of what's possible for yourself. And then that relates into what's possible for your life.
Yeah. And I want to talk about risk a little bit and leverage. And so people understand like my mentality and a lot of people's like if you're a financial advisor, you're going to have one mentality about a risk threshold. And if you're in the crypto and the maniac, you're going to have a different threshold, and you gamble, there's going to be a different threshold for risk. So the way I best describe it is say you're driving to Florida and there's 3 lanes to get to Florida. In the right lane, I have an RV. So that's where you could put a good amount of money in your RV. It's going to drive nice and safe and slow, and it's going to get to Florida eventually. Or you can go in the middle lane and take your Subaru, and it's a little faster, and you're going to get there. To me, that's real estate. I'm going to get to Florida faster, safely, in a nice, safe vehicle that I know that I'm comfortable with. I've driven it a bunch of times. I know the game. And then in the left lane is the Maserati with crypto and gambling or whatever. Like I throw some money in there every now and then.
You might get there, but you might die.
You might, right. Like you might crash and burn. But it might be a little bit of fun and excitement for a little bit, but you don't know if you're going to get there in 12 hours or you never get there. So if you kind of look at like risk as I do, I look at those 3 lanes. One is boring as hell to me, the RV. It's fun with the family and stuff, but from a financial standpoint, like some people love that slow, long drive of safely getting there. To me, the middle lane is where I live, and that's real estate. That's businesses. That's strategies of like moving at a quicker pace safely and strategically, knowing that I'm going to get to my destination the way I want to get there. I'm not going to be peeling in sideways, and I'm not going to be puttering in slow in the RV. So if you can just you need to understand how you are and how you analyze risk, and then step into another lane and just play in that lane a little bit and figure out how to get good in a lane that's getting there faster, and your life changes immediately. So,
and the thing, it's not like you're just making this up. This is based off of evidence of the fact that 90% of all millionaires became millionaires through real estate.
Middle lane. Yep. Real estate.
And guess what? It's because of leverage and all the other components combined with real estate. So it's, it's not the real sexy get rich quick, but it's get rich for sure, as long as you stick to it and you don't make any major, pulling into the other lane real fast, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing too, like Mike and I were just talking about on the way here. There are people that have all their money in the RV lane. What do you think they're thinking? Like lots of money, they're going, well, they're scared, but they're going, they're scared because they're not diversified. They're going, I should have some money. They're not saying in the Maserati lane, in real estate. I should have some money diversified in real estate. I should getting into this multiple family. Well, guess what? If you're the person in the middle lane that has a proven track record, and then you post a couple videos about what you're doing, the money always comes. The money will come from the RV lane and come into your lane, and you'll be able to manage that deal and use other people's money to acquire more after you have the skill set to do it. We're experiencing it now. We turn away. Someone told me this a while ago. When you're starting out, you're going to have partners. Once you've established yourself, you'll have investors. We're at the stage where we have investors to the point where we don't have enough opportunities to satisfy all the investors' money that's available. And you're still trying to just strategically figure out your niche of where you want to go deeper. And again, it all comes from just stepping in the middle lane, doing it one time, proving it out. And then you don't have to do it for other people. You just keep doing it for yourself until you hit that number where you go, all right, my passive income, covers my monthly nut plus my walk around money. I'm good. And you could decide if that's where you want to stop, or I don't know anyone that just stops though. I don't know. Like if your mindset's there, you don't stop.
What I've seen is, when you get to that level where you don't feel that need for, then you start getting creative with it. Yeah. And then you start trying to, find something that's a little more meaningful, some impactful investing. What kind of investing could you make an impact maybe on a neighborhood? Yep. Or how could you bring friends and family along with you? How could you create something that's going to go on beyond you? How do you preserve those assets to create generational wealth? Right. So it's just different progressions. But it's an amazing journey. I'm super happy to be on this journey with you, my friend.
Me too.
And, anyone that wants to reach out, Brian, why don't you just, real quick hit on kind of what areas you cover, your different businesses, because you got several here, and, just tell people really, I guess, offer how you can potentially help them get to this place. Yeah.
So, our real estate servicing areas, obviously licensed in Pennsylvania. So we focus mostly from Philly to the Poconos with our footprint there. We have a social media and video production company called Leading Apex Media, which helps realtors and businesses with creating content to help them push into the social spaces to get attention. And then, the newest business that we're excited about with our investors is this Roof Max, business where we're able to help investors and homeowners with a more cost-effective way of treating their roof with a warranty as opposed to replacing their roof. So there's a lot, again, as you put yourself out there, there's opportunities. If you think of me more as like a marketer at heart, and I help businesses market, and then when I really like a business model, I'll invest in it and jump into it. If you have any questions, you can find me. I think it's Brian Offner Team on Instagram, Facebook, Brian Offner, and all my contact information. If you just,
we'll make sure to put some links below too to reach out to Brian.
And if you go to Amazon, just type in Brian Offner, the book will pop up too. There's actually, I just started talking about it, so it's a lot of people. There's some reviews on Instagram too that some people that I don't even know were nice enough to read the book. And the book is meant, this is just the way my brain works. I don't ever usually read a book from beginning to end. So I wrote a book that you don't have to read it from beginning to end. It's one of those things where just leave it on your desk, pick it up, grab a nugget for the week, implement it and execute on it. There's exercises. So it's not something where you're going to read it from front to back and just, forget about it. I want you to like use it as an ongoing accountability to your potential and just resort back to it, grab a little nugget and go, oh yeah, I should focus on this, and then go and do it. So,
and before we close out, I just want to recap, really the intention of this was to help you guys transform your mindset from scarcity, lack to abundance and wealth, right? And maybe you have that abundance mentality, but could it expand? And if you're really stuck in that scarcity, lack mindset, I just want to ask you one last question. Brian, what would you give if anyone feels really stuck in that, that constant feeling like they don't have enough? What would you tell them to shift that focus?
If someone feels like they constantly don't have enough, you have to surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do. So that you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I remember I said you got to get rid of the heavy people around you. I always start with the people that are in your ear the most, planting those seeds in that head trash, because we're meant to be abundant beings. We're meant to strive to want more. We got to find that drive and passion inside of us. And if we have people just holding us down, that's the first step. I'd reach out to a mentor, identify somebody in the marketplace doing what you want to do, and reach out to them. You'd be surprised. Most people who are where they want to be are reaching down and lifting people up, right? And then there's people who are stomping on people. They're not the people that you want to be around, or the people holding people down. But I promise you, whether you're making 50 grand and you want to make 100, go talk to someone making 100, they'll lift you up. You want 100, you want to make 500,000, it gets smaller as you get up there, but those people are more willing to help the higher you go up. So identify who you're talking. You got to remove the head trash about scarcity mentality. You deserve it. Your potential is a lot more. And the thing I'll even challenge the people that are in abundance mentality and scarcity that are working through it is, if you have the ability to do more and you don't, it's super irresponsible to have that skill set. Because most people, this is why I hold myself super accountable, is like, if I can do more, I can help more people lift up. So even if you're doing it and you're like, I'm good, well, I'll challenge you that it's irresponsible to even say those words, because the more you push yourself to the next level, the more people you can bring to the next level for themselves. So surround yourself with people that are where you want to go, and never be the smartest man in the room.
Well, I achieved my goal today then. No, seriously, Brian, thank you so much. That was like really, really good stuff. I hope you guys found this valuable. Please reach out to Brian if he can help you out in any way. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you for tuning in to the Investor Agent Podcast today. We hope you found it valuable. Please tune in weekly at theinvestoragents.com.